Welcome to Gallop Solutions TestBytes. TestBytes is essentially a technical show dedicated to all the software testing professionals. Through this show, we aim to bring you a series of technical thoughts around software testing, innovations that are sweeping across the world of software testing and software quality. Let me take this opportunity to introduce Kalyana. Kalyana is president of Gallop Solutions, aiming to become the largest testing company in North America. Gallop Solutions is a 100% subsidiary of Signity Technologies. Kalyana has been a career tester by himself for close to 2 decades, is an industry veteran in the software testing industry, has been a trusted and technical advisor for several large Fortune clients. And with that said, let me welcome Kalyana on board for this show today.
Wonderful and detailed introduction. I'm happy to be on this show and delighted to be the part one of this entire show here.
Thank you. So what we would do is we have some questions that probably for the benefit of our viewers, this is more about the changes that are sweeping through the industry. What is actually Agile doing? How is the world of DevOps and where is software testing playing a role? What exactly is about shift left? So some of these aspects is what we want to cover in this show. So as part of that, so here is the first thing that we want your views about. What exactly is shift left, and how do you think we could do early defect detection with this whole concept of shift left?
Sure, Sai. So if all of you would have seen studies about the costs that are involved in finding defects very late in the life cycle. So the cost of finding a defect early on in the life cycle at the requirements phase, if that is 1x, and the cost of finding a defect very late in the life cycle, which is close to production or in the production, is almost 50x. So shift left testing is all about how do we find defects early on in the life cycle. Shift left actually promotes having a much clean and very well tested requirements. And while doing the testing at the requirements phase, there are 4 aspects to be considered. That is, one is the completeness, to check whether the requirements are complete or not, the correctness of the requirements, and testability and the consistency.
So is there something called shift right as well? I mean, so fundamentally we keep hearing both shift left and shift right. It would be helpful if you could explain what are the differences between a shift right and shift left and how companies can get benefit from both the approaches.
Sure. So if you, right now what is happening is that if you really look at it, there are actually 2 fundamental principles about quality, and one talks about the quality of the product is determined by how accurately you build the product based on the business requirements that are being given. Right? That takes a technical view of building the software and building the quality into the product. There is this other view which talks about the fit for use, which is whatever that we are building, it has to make sense for the end user that is going to use it. So while the shift left basically deals with the issues around, are we building the product based on the requirement specifications, shift right deals with the issues related to, are we building the product which is actually is meeting the needs of the clients. Shift right is about how do we generate the analytics of how the users or the clients of the software are using, and driving some of that learnings into the software testing lifecycle early on, so that you are constantly improving the quality of the product by not looking at the technical specifications and requirements. All of them are internal, but actually learning from the marketplace on how the product or application being used.
Wonderful. So functionality has always been the core focus when we talk about software testing, right? But we keep hearing a lot about the non-functional testing aspects. So can you explain what's the importance of non-functional testing in today's scenarios, more where digital is driving the whole world?
Sure. It's a very good question. So the non-functional testing aspects are the ones that are not related to the functionality of the application. So when you think about non-functional testing, in the current scheme of things, the ones that are more relevant are performance testing, security testing, and mobile testing, test automation. Some of these things are called basically non-functional testing. It is trying to validate the quality aspects of the application that are not related to function. So the non-functional testing aspects are so much important that when you say that software is functioning, it's just not the features that are working, but it can actually perform well, it is secure, and it installs itself very well.
So there's always been this notion of test automation being the secret sauce of software testing, right? So what is there some change that the whole approach to test automation has gone through more so in Agile and DevOps? Can you share some thoughts?
Sure. So if you look at test automation, say probably 5 years before, and when the enterprises and the product development companies were building products using waterfall model, so testing is more like a phase which gets done at the end of the software development phase, and unlike in Agile and DevOps where the testing is a continuous process, and also the Agile and DevOps almost sort of mandates you to have a product that comes out at the end of each sprint that if you'd like to, you should be able to deploy in the production and useful to the clients. So that is actually forcing a lot of companies to adopt test automation, and as and when the software is being built. So gone are those days where you build a product and then you do functional testing and then you build your automated regression test suite. Right now, all these activities are parallel work streams. You're developing your product, and then you're also doing your functional testing, and then parallelly you are building your automated regression test suite.
So what do you have to say about, I mean obviously software testing covers a whole lot of business functionality. So what kind of business risks that we see and how risk-based testing can actually help, particularly when we test business critical and enterprise grade applications?
And the risk-based testing actually drives the test teams to think about the value of doing certain testing. So which means that if you have a budget of certain dollars, then you would probably want to test certain features much deeper and much broader than the other features. So now, how would you determine what features to test first, what features to test next, and which features needs to be tested more or tested less? That is all about the risk-based.
That has been a very insightful explanation of why risk-based testing is important. So having said that, I think one other thing that we always wonder about is what kind of metrics should someone really focus, right? There have been a lot of metrics that are floating around. So what are those few metrics that you think that are very relevant in today's world of extremely fast-paced software testing that's been sweeping through?
Sure, definitely, sir. So I would say that if you really look at the testing is meant to provide insight into quality of the applications and basically provide risk information about the quality of the applications under production so that the business teams can make a decision on.
And we hear a lot about SDETs and dev testers these days, right? So essentially, is the role of QA changed, and how does this translate from a career standpoint? What's happening?
However, if you look at it right now, I think almost 90% of the jobs are actually asking for programming experience as a mandatory for a test engineer or a quality engineer. I think some of the things that are happening, some that are driving the change are one, I think we moved from a waterfall model to Agile and DevOps in building the applications, and those methodologies automatically made us take a look at the quality and the testing of the product early on in the life cycle,
Right.
and also that ability to roll out these products and applications faster means that the testing cycles need to shrink, and there is no better way than using test automation to shrink these testing cycles. Test automation means knowing the programming languages.
Thank you, Kalyan. I think this has been a very realistic way of letting know what actually sweeping software testing world. I'm very sure in this first edition of Gallup's TestBytes, we are very excited that this is going to help meet a lot of questions that we all always wanted to find out. And all I can promise is there is more to come. Stay tuned. We'll catch up again. Thank you.